Episode 2 of The Institute begins with Iris's graduation to the back half. Kalisha wants in on the escape plan as well. Sigsbee and Tony are overenthusiastic while Maureen pities Iris. In town, Tim barely evades Hollister. Wendy informs him that 2 armed robbers may hit the town, but he refuses a gun. It is still awkward between them and he tries to joke with her. She isn't amused, but she seems to be warming up to him. The Institute's mysterious leader calls Sigsbee and Stackhouse regarding the Michelle fiasco. Sigsbee and Stackhouse have different priorities, but they need more recruiters and kids. Much to Stackhouse's annoyance, Sigsbee convinces the leader to put Kate on the recruiting team. Soon it is time for Luke's first experiment, and Tony is absolutely gleeful. Hendrix puts on a superior air as he believes in the righteous mission of the Institute. On to the test. Luke needs to tell them whenever he sees dots in his vision. He feels sick, but after much coercion, is able to move a box and chair. In town, a frantic Annie hounds Mrs. Sloan. Zoe Sloan died in an accident, but Annie thinks it was murder. Tim is able to calm her down, but he doesn't win any points with Officer Drew, who looks down on Annie. Back at the Institute, Maureen checks in on Luke as she takes him back to the rec room. But George is in a much worse condition. He is in the dream box phase, which is the last one before graduating to the back half. It pushes a TP to develop TK powers, and a TK to develop TP powers. In this test, they need to line up the lights to stop the pain. Tony messes around with Nikki, and he has had enough. Nikki and Luke head out on the pretext of playing basketball. They discuss their options, and Luke figures their only shot is to turn a staff member to help them escape. He also notices a factory that emits a lot of smoke every week. Meanwhile, Tim and Wendy discuss Zoe's death. The town river has a forbidden area called the Red Steps where the currents are strong. Years ago, a group of kids, including Zoe, got drunk and got swept off. They all showed up dead a few days later. Annie came to town much later and figured it wasn't an accident. Tim is curious about Annie since she knew private things about him, but Wendy chalks off her ramblings to preternatural delusions. Is Annie a TP? We see that George's TK powers have gotten stronger as he is able to move a coin. Luke pushes him to practice moving bigger targets. Most recruits remain in the first half for 15 days. It isn't enough for them to amplify their powers to hurt the staff. Kalisha wants to turn Maureen, who has been kind enough to even tell them the CCTV's blind spots, but Kalisha is not strong enough to mind-read secrets. As they wonder what to do, Luke fills them in that Avery, the latest recruit, is arriving soon. Nikki also teases Kalisha for her kissing precaution, and we learn that she just had chickenpox. Later that night, Luke starts timing the night patrols. Before Tim begins his shift, he heads to the gas station. He ends up befriending the owner, Dobira. He then checks on Annie, who wants to tell him about the Institute. They are interrupted by gunshots. The 2 state robbers have arrived with a bang. Tim scares them off by lying that he has a gun. He gets their license plate, but Dobira has been shot. When Hendrix turns in for the night, Stackhouse accosts him. As they head to their lodging, we learn that the Institute is not interested in Hendrix's PC track. However, Stackhouse is, and he hints that he has some third-party buyers who are interested. They are to keep Sigsbee out of it, as she is the Institute's man. Stackhouse also knows that Sigsbee and Hendrix are hooking up, but since she is rude to him, Hendrix has no qualms in lying to her. And the potential candidate for the PC track seems to be Luke. Fortunately, or unfortunately, Sigsbee overhears them. Elsewhere, Tim thinks on his feet and slows down Dobira's bleeding while Drew is the first one at the scene. He panics, and Tim has to walk him through what needs to be done. Once the ambulance arrives, Tim pushes Drew to take the credit. However, the deputy knows that Tim was responsible.